fight the power like Big Chuck.
What's the status, 3?
I'm good, just making the world a better place, that's all.
Check it, yo. I always be analyzing to see who's fake. People acting Janice, running around two-faced, talking behind my back until they put in their place. You're a two-course meal without saying grace on the internet. Talking shit through your fingertips, talking high power till your shine is eclipsed. Trying to ride a wave until your mind is seasick. Cement shoes and your ankles tied with 3 bricks. This isn't Grand Theft Auto, this is real life. I will piss on your grave and throw dick to your wife. This is a warning mixed with some advice. You might be king, but I'm the ace of spades, and you just renade. This is food for thought, bitch, eat a grenade. This is what people want, to be treated like dirt. I tried being humble, but that was absurd. All the brainless pigeons flock together like birds, pecking for crumbs until they merge with the crossroads and chuck the demi-urge. I think they had enough, I took the trash to the curb. Let the torture begin and watch them burn. Here's the urn.
It's hard to keep it real with fake people. They can take love, mix it with hate, and make evil. I'm staring at 50 shades of gray people. It's a grand deception. Like K-Reno, they are who they say they isn't. On the internet, spreading everybody's business through a troll account. Talking foul, not knowing what goes around comes around. The flat out truth is the energy change when I come around. I guess London Bridge is falling down. Hey people, stall him out. We know all about the narrative painting. To control the clout, they gatekeepers trying to stop the ones trying to awake people. Between earth and God, I'm a byproduct. I come from a family of hustlers. That byproduct, money is the root of all evil. But I'm still trying to find a large profit. It's a mirage, they live in a facade. I was smoking thigh and had a talk with God. She told me why she named me John. I art the scriptures to shed light on the darker pictures. If you my dog, I'm barking with you. Be feeling the star wisdom. My homie Chuck told me it was giants on earth before me. And chemtrails, we inhale. That's another story. Mercury is used to check temperature. The sun is the spirit sinking. The moon is the portal. Assuming you important. Set your turn. Mars is wars as the M turn. And change words, I'm in the game, but change service. I'm about to disassemble a bomb, I ain't nervous.
Drake, Dragon, Draco, Draconian, land of the giants, ice wall, Patagonian, lexicon, word wizardry, speaking Babylonian, highways of the vortex, shooting out the fallopian, low vibrating light, king of the material, mark of the beast, nanotech, scanning cereal, the mental dead, carried by 6 to your burial, the lights is out. No resurrection, broken power grid, no interconnection. The Grim Reaper, I'm so collecting. 6-shot, hollow tip, rubber grip, Smith & Wesson. Bitch, repent when God is in your presence. Your aura is weak, uproot your essence. I walk through darkness, highly illuminated. Eyes blazing with fire with blades double serrated. Hunting down clowns I double hated. Hit so hard your jaw is elongated. Shatter egos like they was glass plated. This was long overdue, past dated. one shot deal. It is as is and no recreation. All praises due to my parents for making. Always appreciate and never abated. One.
The A is the M, like the A is the E. Where earlier I said, hey, you know how somebody say, hey. That's AI. And that's the dream, like, don't people say, hey, I'm dreaming. Am I dreaming?
Hey, what's up, Renegade? Faceplant. X. Shit. Fuck. What? Ah, you mother whore. I'm just getting this, getting the stuff ready so I can do the presentation. More or less, it ain't really a presentation. It's a presentation for everyone that be hating. Because they don't believe in the God. Like they're pagan. All those balloon heads will pop and start deflating. Hey, what's up, Jay Huyton? That's wild. I was just thinking this morning, I was like, damn, I wonder what's up with Jay Huyton. because you haven't been here in a few. But this is a manual. As y'all know, I've been talking about direct energy weapons and the ancestors' weapons for years already. But this is a must to add. Security. Let's see what this has to say. It is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society. The engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons, on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control and destruction of human life, slavery, and genocide. This manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a situation of great power and without the full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and methodology for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group or persons and the public. The solution of today's problem is to get some fucking balls and fuck some shit up. No, I'm joking. The solution of today's problems requires an approach which is ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural values. You have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with cold, objectively, and yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity without loss of direction or humility. Such virtues are exercised in your own best interest. Do not deviate from them. Welcome aboard. This publication marks the 25th anniversary of the Third World War, called the Quiet War, being conducted using subjective biological warfare fought with silent weapons. This book contains an introductory description of this war, its strategies, and its weaponry. May of 1970 motherfucking 9. We got to get pumped up. I'm getting pumped up myself. I'm ready to start slapping some politicians up. All right, my bad. What's up, Lucid? Who else is in here? All right. Historical introduction. Silent weapon technology has evolved from operations research, a strategic and tactical methodology developed under the military management England during World War II. The original purpose of Operation Research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense, with the objective of limited military resources against foreign enemies, i.e., logistics. It was soon recognized by those in positions of power that the same methods might be useful for totally controlling a society, but better tools were necessary. Social engineering, the analysis and automation of a society, requires the correlation of great amounts of constantly changing economic information, data. So high-speed computerized data processing system was necessary, which could race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capitulation. Relay computers were too slow, but the electronic company, invented in 1946 by J. Presper Eckert and John W. Mauchly, filled the bill. The next breakthrough was the development of the simplex method of linear programming in 1947 by the mathematician George B. Dantzig. Then in 1948, the transistor, invented by J. Barton, W. H. Brattain, and W. Shockley, promised great expansion of the computer field by power requirements. With those three inventions under their direction, those in position of power strongly suspected that it was possible for them to control the whole world with the push of a button. Immediately, the Rockefeller Foundation got in the ground floor by making a 4-year grant to Harvard College, funding the Harvard Economic Research Project for the study of the structure of the American economy. 1 year later, in 1949, the United States Air Force joined in. Aw, buddy. In 1952, the original grant period terminated, and a high-level meeting of the elite was held to determine the next phase of social operation research. The Harvard Project had been very fruitful, as is borne out by the publication of some of its results in 1953, suggesting the feasibility of economic social engineering. Studies in those structure of the American economy, copyright 1953 by Wallace Leontief, International Sciences, something Incorporated, White Plains, New York. Engineered in the last half-decade of the 1940s, the now quiet war machine stood, so to speak, in sparkling gold-plated hardware on the showroom floor by 1954. With the creation Damn, I don't even know what that says. With the creation of the shit. with the creation of the macer or laser. Sorry. It's either macer or laser. It might be laser, yeah. With the creation of the whatever in 1954, the promise of unlocking unlimited sources of fusion atomic energy from the heavy hydrogen in seawater and the consequent availability of unlimited social power became a possibility only decades away. The combination was irresistible. The Quiet War was quietly declared by the international elite at a meeting held in 1954. Although the silent weapon system was nearly exposed 13 years later, the evolution of the new weapon system has never suffered any major setbacks. This volume marks the 25th anniversary of the beginning of the Quiet War. Already this domestic war has many victories on many fronts throughout the world. Political introduction. In 1954, it was well recognized by those in positions of authority that it was only a matter of time, only a few decades, before the general public would be able to grasp and upset the cradle of power. For the very elements of the new silent weapon technology were as accessible for a public utopia as they were for providing a private utopia. The issue of primary concern, that of dominance, revolved around the subject of energy sciences. Wait a minute. I guess it goes here. Energy. Energy is recognized as the key to all activity on Earth. Natural science is the study of the sources and control of natural energy. And social science, theoretically expressed as economics, is the study of the sources and control of social energy. Both are bookkeeping systems, mathematics. Therefore, mathematics is the primary energy of science, and the bookkeeper can be king of if the public can be kept ignorant of the methodology of the bookkeeping. All science is merely a means to an end. The means is knowledge, the end is control. Beyond this remains only one issue: who will be the beneficiary? In 1954, this was the issue of primary concern, although the so-called moral issues were raised. In view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such a people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. Consequently, in the interest of future world order, peace, and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a quiet war against the American public, with an ultimatum objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy wealth of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply now weapons which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. In conclusion, the objective of economic I might say economic monarch, as conducted by the magnates of capital banking and the industries of commodities or goods and services, is the establishment of an economy which is totally predictable and manipulatable. In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of the society must be brought under total control, i.e., must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early ago, before they have an opportunity to question the property of the matter or the propriety of the matter. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. Basically, they want the state to raise them. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that something of ignorance isolating the inferior class from the superior class is the remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an hold on. Yeah, that. Of course, my landlord's here. Anyway, where was I before I get interrupted again? This form of slavery is essential to maintaining some. Man, they did a horrible job copying this. Maintaining something of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. Descriptive introduction of the silent weapon. Everything that is expected from an ordinary weapon is expected from a silent weapon by its creators, but only in its own manner of functioning. It shoots situations instead of bullets. Propelled by data processing instead of chemical reaction / explosion. Originating from bits of data instead of grain or gunpowder, from a computer instead of a gun, operated by a computer programmer instead of a marksman, under the orders of a banking magnate instead of a military general. It makes no obvious explosive noises, causes no obvious physical or mental injuries, and does not obviously interfere with anyone's daily social life. Yet it makes an unmistakable noise, causes unmistakable physical and mental damage, and unmistakably interferes with daily social life. Unmistakable to a trained observer, one who knows what to look for. The public cannot comprehend this weapon and therefore cannot believe that they are being attacked and subdued by a weapon. The public might instinctively feel that something is wrong, but because of the technical nature, hold on. Sorry about that. I got my landlord and the nurse showed up. Just give me 2 seconds. Give me a minute. It figures. Anyway, fuck it. Close this door. Where was I? The public might instinctively feel that something is wrong. Whoever left, they're gonna lose out. Anyway, I know most people can't handle real information, but let's get it. The public might instinctively feel that something is wrong, but because of the technical nature of the silent weapon, they cannot express their feelings in a rational way or handle the problem with intelligence. Therefore, they do not know how to cry for help, and they do not know how to associate with others to defend themselves against it. That ain't true. When a silent weapon is applied gradually to the public adjusts/adapts to its presence and learns to tolerate it, its encroachment on their lives until the pressure, psychological via economic, becomes too great and they crack up. Therefore, the silent weapon is a type of biological warfare. It attacks the vitality options and mobility of the individuals of a society by knowing, understanding, manipulating, and attacking their source of natural and social energy and their physical, mental, and emotional strengths and weaknesses. Theoretical introduction. Give me control over a nation's currency, and I care not who makes it its laws. Mayor Amschel Rothschild figures. Today's silent weapons technology is an outgrowth of simple idea discovered, succinctly expressed, and effectively applied by the quoted. Mr. Mayor, I think it's Amschel Rothschild. Mr. Rothschild discovered the missing passive component of economic theory, known as economic inducting. I can't, man. These words are smudged. I'll say inducting. I don't know. He, of course, did not think of this discovery in these 20th century terms, and to be sure, mathematical analysis had to wait for the Second Industrial Revolution, the rise of the theory of mechanics and electronics, and finally, the invention of the electronic computer before it could be effectively applied in the control of the world economy. General energy concepts. In the study of energy systems, there always appears through elementary concepts. These are potential energy, kinetic energy, and energy dissipation. And corresponding to those concepts, there are three idealized, essentially pure physical counterparts called passive components. 1. In the science of physical mechanics, the phenomenon of potential energy is associated with a physical property called elasticity or stiffness and can be represented by a stretched spring. In electronic science, potential energy is stored in a capacitor instead of a spring. This property is called capacitance instead of elasticity or stiffness. 2. In the science of physical mechanics, the phenomenon of kinetic energy is associated with a physical property called inertia or mass and can be represented by a mass or a flywheel in motion. In electronic science, kinetic energy is stored in an inductor in a magnetic field instead of mass. This property is called inductance instead of inertia. Three. In the science of physical mechanics, the phenomenon of energy dissipation. Okay. The phenomenon of energy dissipation is associated with a physical property called friction or resistance and can be represented by a dashpot or other device which converts system energy into heat. In electronic science, dissipation of energy is performed by an element called ether, a resistor or conductor. The term resistor being one generally used to express the concept of friction, and the term conductor being generally used to describe a more ideal device, i.e. wire, employed to convey electric energy efficiently from one location to another. The property of a resistance or conductor is measured as either resistance or conductance reciprocals. In economics, these three energy concepts are associated with economic capacitance, capital, money stock, inventory, investments in buildings and durables, etc. 2. Economic conductance, goods, productions, flow, coefficients. And 3. Economic inductance, services, the influence of the population of industry on output. All of the mathematical theory developed in the study of one energy system, mechanics, electronics, etc., can be immediately applied in the study of any other energy systems. including the economy, right? Economics. Mr. Rothschild's energy discovery. More like, yeah, he didn't discover it. Anyway. What Mr. Rothschild had discovered was the basic principle of power, influence, and control over people as applied to economics. That principle is when you assume the appearance of power, people soon give it to you. Mr. Rothschild had discovered that currency or deposit loan accounts had the required appearance of power that could be used to induce people's inductance with people corresponding to a magnetic field into surrendering their real wealth in exchange for a promise of greater wealth intended of real compensation. They would put up real collateral in exchange for a loan of promissory notes, IOUs. Mr. Rothschild found that he could issue more notes than he had backing for, so long as he had someone's stock of gold as a persuader to show to his customers. Mr. Rothschild loaned his promissory notes to individuals and to governments. These would create overconfidence. Then he would make money scarce, tighten control of the system, and collect the collateral through the obligation of contracts. The cycle was then repeated. These pressures could be used to ignite a war. Then he would control the availability of currency to determine who would win the war. That government, which agreed to give him control of its economic system, got his support. Collection of debts was guaranteed by economic aid to the enemy of the debtor. The profit derived from this economic methodology made Mr. Rothschild all the more wealthy and all the more able to extend his wealth. He found that the public greed would allow currency to be printed by governments, order beyond the limits inflation of backing in precious metal or the production of goods and services, gross national product, GNP. Apparent capital versus paper inductor. In this structure, credit, presented as a pure circuit element called currency, has the appearance of capital, but is in fact negative capital. Hence, it has the appearance of service, but in fact, indebtedness or debt. It is therefore an economic inductance instead of an economic capacitance. And if balanced in no other way, will be balanced by the negotiation of population, war, and genocide. The total goods and services represents real capital called the gross national product, and currency may be printed up to this level and still represent economic capacitance. But the currency printed beyond this level is subtractive, represents the induction of economic inductance, and constitutes notes of indebtedness. War is therefore a balancing of the system by killing the true creditors. The public, which we have taught to exchange true value for inflated currency, and falling back on whatever is left of the resources of nature in the regeneration of those resources. Mr. Rothschild had discovered that currency gave him the power to rearrange the economic structure to his own advantage, to shift economic inductance to those economic positions which would encourage the greatest economic instability and oscillation. The final key to economic control had to wait until there was sufficient data and high-speed computing equipment to keep else watch on the economic oscillations created by Preco shocking? What the fuck is that? Preco. I don't know. Preco shocking and excess paper energy credits, paper inductance / inflation. Breakthrough. The aviation field provided the greatest evolution in economic engineering by way of the mathematical theory of shock testing. In this process, a projectile is fired from an airframe on the ground, and the impulse of the recoil is monitored by vibration transducers connected to the airframe and wired to chart recorders. By studying the echoes or reflections of the recoil impulse in the airframe, it is possible to discover critical vibrations in the structure which either vibrations of the engine or alien vibrations of the wings, or a combination of the two, might reinforce, resulting in a resonant self-destruction of the airframe in flight as an aircraft. From the standpoint of engineering, this means that the strengths and weaknesses of the structure of the airframe in terms of vibrational energy can be discovered and manipulated. Application in economics. What's up, Chris? Peace to everyone in the chat. Application in economics. To use this method of airframe shock testing in economic engineering, the prices of commodities are shocked, and the public consumer reaction is monitored. The resulting echoes of the economic shock are interpreted theoretically by computers, and the psycho-economic structure of the economy is thus discovered. It is by this process that partial differential and difference matrices are discovered that define the family household and make possible its evolution as an economic industry. Sorry, it's sometimes hard to read this, man. Descriptive consumer structure. Then the response of the household to future shocks can be predicted and manipulated, and society becomes a well-regulated animal with its reigns under the control of a sophisticated computer-regulated social energy bookkeeping system. Eventually, every individual element of the structure comes under computer control through a knowledge of personal preferences, such knowledge guaranteed by computer association of consumer preferences. Universal Product Code UPC. Zebra stripe pricing. Codes on packages. with identified consumers identified via association with the use of a credit card, and later a prominent tattooed body number invisible under normal ambient illumination. I never heard of that. Dude, man, we're gonna be super slaves. I fucking love it. Summary. My bad. I had to make sure I wasn't muted. That would have sucked. Economics is only a social extension of a natural energy system. It also has its three passive components. Because of the distribution of wealth and the lack of communication and consequent lack of data, this field has been the last energy field for which a knowledge of these three passive components has been developed. Since energy is the key to all activity on the face of the earth, it follows that in order to attain a monopoly of energy, raw materials, goods, and services, and to establish a world system of slave labor, it is necessary to have a first strike capability in the field of economics. In order to maintain our position, it is necessary that we have absolute first knowledge of the science of control over all economic factories and the first experience at engineering the world economy. In order to achieve such sovereignty, we must at least achieve this one end, that the public will not make either the logical or mathematical connection between economics and the other energy sciences, or learn to apply such knowledge. This is becoming increasingly difficult to control because more and more businesses are making demands upon their computer programmers to create and apply mathematical models for the management of these businesses. It is only a matter of time before the new breed of private programmer economists will catch on to the far-reaching implications of the work begun at Harvard in 1948. The speed with which they can compute their warning to the public will largely depend upon how effective we have been at controlling the media, subverting education, and keeping the public distracted with matters of no real importance. The economic model. Economics, as a social energy sciences, has as a first objective the description of the complex way in which any given unit of resource is used to satisfy some economic want. I think it says Leontief matrix. This first objective, when it is extended to go the most product from the least or limited resources, comprises that objective of general military and industrial logistics known as Operation Research. The Harvard Economic Research Project, 1948, was an extension of World War II operations research. Its purpose was to discover the science of controlling an economy, at first the American economy and then the world economy. Yeah. It was felt that with sufficient mathematical foundation and date, it would be nearly an easy to predict and control the trend of an economy as to predict and control the trajectory of a projectile. Such has proven to be the case. Moreover, the economy has been transformed into a guided missile on target. The immediate aim of the Harvard Project was to discover the economic structure, what forces change that structure, how the behavior of the structure can be predicted, and how it can be manipulated. What was needed was a well-organized knowledge of the mathematical structures and interrelationships of investment, production, distribution, and consumption. To make a short story of it all, it was discovered that the economy obeyed the same laws as electricity, and that all of the mathematical theory and practical and computer know-how developed for the electronic field could be directly applied in the study of economics. This discovery was not openly declared, and it is more subtle implications wherein are kept a closely guarded secret. For example, that in an economic model, human life is measured in dollars, and that the electric spark generated when opening a switch connected to an active inductor is mathematically analog to the initiative of a war. The greatest hurdle which theoretical economists faced was the accurate description of the household as an industry. This is a challenge because consumer purchases are a matter of choice, which in turn is influenced by income, price, and other economic factors. This hurdle was cleared in an indirect this hurdle was cleared in an indirect and statistically approximate way by an application of shock testing to determine the current characteristics called current technical coefficients of a household industry. Finally, because problems in theoretical economics can be translated very easily into problems in theoretical electronics, and the solution translated back again, it follows that only a book of language translation and concept definition needed to be written for economics. The remainder could be gotten from standard work on mathematics and electronics. This makes the publication of books on advanced economics unnecessary and greatly simplifies project security. Industrial diagrams. An ideal industry is defined as a device which receives value from other industries in several forms and converts it into one specific product for sales and distribution to other industries. It has several inputs and outputs. What the public normally thinks of as one industry is really an industrial complex where several industries under one roof produce one or more products. A pure single output industry can be represented over simply by a circuit block as follows. The flow of product from industry supply to industry, demand is denoted by 1/12. The total flow out of industry is denoted by sales, etc. A three-industry network can be diagrammed as follows. Yeah, I really don't want to care to read that. Cocky balls. The three industrial classes. What do y'all think so far? It's only 29 pages, so sit tight, my friends. Who? Check out. Oh. Okay. I couldn't read that at first. All right. Industries fall into three categories or classes by type of output. Yeah, I might only read like 5 more pages. Save the rest for tomorrow. I don't know, maybe. I'll do the whole thing. All right. Industries fall into three categories of classes by type of output. Class 1 is capital, resources. Class 2 is goods, commodities, or use. I don't know what that says. Class 3 is services, action of population. Class 1, industries exist at 3 levels. 1, natural, sources of energy and raw materials. 2, government, printing of currency equal to gross national product, and extension of currency in excess of GNP. 3, banking, loaning of money for interest, and extension counterfeiting of economic value through deposit loan accounts. Inflation. Aggregation. The whole economic system can be represented by a 3-industry model if one allows the names of the output to be capital, 2, goods, and 3, services. The problem with this representation is that it would not show the influence of, say, the textile industry on the furious metal industry. Is that furious or serious metal industry? I don't know. This is because both the textile industry and the serious metal industry would be contained with one single classification called the goods industry. By the goods industry and by this process of combining or aggregating these two industries under one system block, they will lose their economic individuality. The E model. A national economy consists of simultaneous flows of production, distribution, consumption, and investment. If all of these elements, including labor and human functions, are assigned a numerical value in like units of measure, say $1939, then this flow can be further represented by a current flow in an electronic circuit. Behavior can be predicted and manipulated with useful precision. The three ideal passive energy components of electronics, the capacitor, the resistor, and the inductor, correspond to the three ideal passive energy components of economics called the pure industries of capital, goods, and services. Economic capacitance represents the storage of capital in one form or another. Economic conductance represents the level of conductance of material for the production of goods. Economic inductance represents the inertia of economic value in motion. This is a population phenomenon known as services. Economic inductance. An electrical inductor, e.g., a coil of wire, has an electric current as its primary phenomenon and a magnetic field as its secondary phenomenon, inertia. Corresponding to this, an economic inductor has a flow of economic value as its primary phenomenon and a population field as its secondary phenomenon of inertia. When the flow of economic value, money, diminishes, the human population field collapses in order to keep the economic value, money, flowing. Extreme case, war. This public inertia is a great result of consumption or consumer buying habits, expected standard of living, etc., and is generally a phenomenon of self-preservation. Inductive factors to consider: 1. Population. 2. Magnitude of the economic activities of the government. And 3. The method of financing these government activities. Translation. A few examples will be given. Charge. What? I can't. Columns? Charge. I think I'm retarded, dude. Let's see what they gotta say this word is. Kalumba. Fuck. Dollars. Flow. Current. Columns. I think that's what it says. Oh my god, dude. This is crazy, man. Dollars of the flow per year. Motivating force, volts, dollars, output, demand, conductance, amperes per volt or amps per volt. Dollars of flow per year per dollar demand. Capacitance. Column something per volt. Dollars of production, inventory stock per dollar demand. I think I'm going to end it here. And where did I leave off? Page 11. Yeah, it's all right, Dom. I mean, what do y'all think about it? I thought for sure, man, there'd be a little more. But yeah, I'll continue that tomorrow, man. I read over an hour. What more you want from me, dude? I just got 65 instrumental discs. Not that no one gives a fuck. Fuck your mom. It's fucking gay here, man.
Yeah, you got fucking offended, man. You got triggered, Chuck. You can leave.
Yeah, I don't think Georgie will be back.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, I feel like what's his name was being a little too. I think he scared him away, man. Naga.
Yeah, Naga said some weird shit. Like, oh, JG wants drama with me. He said something like that, and I was like, bro, what the fuck are you saying right now? Like, it showed how weird he is. It's like he wants drama. He wants the drama. He just, like, what he said showed me he just wants drama, and I was just like, yeah, that's pretty fucking weird. So good job, Naga. Fucking weirdo.
Naga was on one yesterday.
Dude, I paid attention to this Mandela effect shit. How these people are talking about, oh, it was sex in the city, not sex in the city. And these motherfuckers, they did a poll and it was like 70% of the people thought it was sex in the city. And they're like, oh, no, it wasn't sex in the city. I'm just sitting back. It's all cognitive dissonance, dude. People have these false memories and then they're shown evidence of what it really is and they can't accept it, and then they still can't, like, come to terms with themselves and realize that, oh yeah, I have a false memory. I'm tripping. It's interesting, man. Like, and that's what we're seeing more and more. That's what we're seeing big time, is people out here with cognitive dissonance.
All it is, it's simple, bro. They think all it is let's say something used to be, I don't know, say a team was called the Red Faggots, right? And then the Red Fragments. They're just changing something by using AI or a computer, and then they'd be like, it's nothing special, man. They're just changing something. Whoop-de-doo.
No, I see. I guess you don't get what the fuck I just said, man.
No, I know what you mean. But they make it act like it's fucking, I don't know. It's more than what it is. Yeah, people could be having false memories too.
That's all it is, though. It's like a group false memory. Like
You know the Berenstein one, right? Or whatever it's fucking called. I could have sworn it was the other way, but I don't fucking know. It ain't that big of a deal.
yeah, but I'm just saying with this TV show, like specifically, it was always Sex and the City, and these people are like, no, it's Sex in the City, and all these motherfuckers really have that same false memory, and then when they're shown that it's fucking, it's always been A-N-D the City. It trips them up. Like you see, like their cognitive dissonance show. You know, it's the same shit with voting. Like, oh yeah, vote is, your vote matters, blah blah blah, and then you show people proof that it's all just a fucking illusion. Like it's all just you're getting pimped, and people are like, no, I don't want that reality. I want the fake reality. I want the fake reality. That's what we're seeing. People are just stuck in that cognitive dissonance. That's what they want, man. Because they're too weak. People are too fucking weak. It ain't that fucking hard to break out of this shit and see the truth for the truth and what's really going on. But motherfuckers just want to be offended and fucking... They want to be off. They don't want to be on. They don't want to have that brain on. They want to have that brain fucking off.
It says this article is semi-protected due to vandalism. Interesting. I didn't press nothing, so what's going on here? What? Dude. The English word German, which came into use after user adopted the German term originally. I don't know what that says. But I will copy this. Come on. Come on. I don't have patience today, computer. Teuton. Let's see. Other. I was wondering why I got quiet. Oh my god, dude. Everyone's leaving. Maybe I should start dissing channels and people will love me again. Maybe I should be fake and put on a mask. Yeah. Dog shit. Wiki. MC dog shit. I have this rhyme. Where'd it go? Static in your watching your soul fly. At nighttime I can hear the 'cause you can't for heaven. Functions constantly a fallen angel back on religion and rebel the government. Big balls to all shut the fuck up. If we the people are the power, who employed them? Where the hell did that rhyme go, dude? Dude. You're at catch 22, man. Hey, when did I write this shit? Maybe I'll use that. Just slap your mama with. I slapped your mama. You're a dick sucking, nut hugging son of a bitch. That'll piss someone off. You're a dick sucking, nut hugging son of a bitch. And that's how I started off my new rhyme. I'm a disrespect. I'm writing something so disrespectful, right? And it's for whoever takes it the wrong way. I guess you're guilty. People ask me, Chuck, man, who are you talking about in that song, Burning Bridges? I said, whoever gets offended. I founded that shit, yo. Boy. Damn, Rothschild and Company, eh? Like, who respects these people? Rothschild pulled off one of the illest scams ever. And it's still going to this day. It even said money has no value to it. It's like an IOU, a sucker move. The people on it are fucking dead, dude. Yeah, man, I want the money with dead people on it. Let's look up the Zionist Jizzle Pops. Come on. Yo. This shit wants to get fucking bitch slapped. Hi, I'm a Zionist Jew. My name is Charles Jew. Do 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 do. Ah! Ah! Oh shit. Ah! Jesus fucking Christmas. Yo, are you kidding me, man? 16 years to fucking do that? Hmm. Oh my god, dude. This shit wants to get punched. Ha! Yeah, look at this picture, man. That's so funny, man. Looks like they got fucking. Anyway. The fuck, man. What's going on in the chat? What's going on in the chat? Her. Gonna come up. So I'm gonna play this song and then I guess I'm out of here. today, you days. Alright, this Hurricane JW's new song. Let's check this shit out, dude.
You see the fucking fire beside. I came here to bring you alive. And I arrive, I'm a bigger can't be storming your life. You go the ways that I dig and divide. I survive all the shit that I've been through. But my brother left my motherfucking kid too. I left my brother to the motherfucking streets, dude. He ain't dead yet, but he get damn food. Once I cut up the friends because the BS live. I told niggas that BS them for taking everybody. How they can show the relevant nothing because the motherfuckers disappeared. Ain't that motherfucker funny? Look at the dummy living the politics of doing reconnaissance. I'm demolishing the gun.
I've been cloned again.
Good morning, Charles.
What's up, Dom?
Just hanging. We gotta keep you company. If we gotta keep you company.
I was gonna play Hurricanes new song, but it's reading up. That's what I mean about this fucking bullshit hotspot. They only give you like a certain amount of high-speed gigabytes, which lasts like 2 seconds. It's pointless. It's today, Friday. The playoffs are on tomorrow.
College was on yesterday. Notre Dame won.
They did? Who did they beat?
Penn State.
No. Well, yeah, I think I did pick Notre Dame.
Good game.
They were the #1 team, right? Or no?
No.
Penn State.
I think they were ranked. I think based on the CPP, I guess, whatever it's called, 6th and 7th. Notre Dame's only lost one game this year, so Ohio's playing tonight against Texas. Ohio's probably going to win it all, but never know.
I wonder how UConn men did in football. They always do pretty bad.
The UConn is usually good right now at college basketball, both men and women. But football, I don't know.
I just seen Bill Belichick took a $10 million deal to go coach in North Carolina. That's odd.
It's money. Money.
I wonder if he's getting paid more to take that than in the NFL.
Probably, and probably the
Like coaches don't get paid shit, and they're the ones who coach these teams into the fucking, do good. I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
All right.
They probably rake in a lot of financial gain from college football.
I don't know what the top bowl is. I haven't even really been checking on college.
Well, it's a different format this year. They had a playoff, but they still classified certain quarterfinals and semifinals as bowl games.
So what'd you think about what I was reading? about
Well,
the system.
about all the sounds, like the really high pitched sounds and energy. Yep. I think that's been around for a long time. Obviously, you're reading based on the fact that it's been around for a long time, and probably military and certain corporations have access to it, and probably a lot of us get affected by it.
Well, he was saying about Rothschild's scam there with the money. That fucking scam's still going to this day.
Well, we're always exchanging our energy for something else. So whether we direct it towards nature or towards working for a piece of paper or for somebody else's food, we're still giving up our energy for it, or at least exchanging it at that point. It's just one's more valuable than the other. It's probably more of a con, but convincing a whole bunch of people and getting their kids to convince them or teach them that you work for Marx, then you work for money.
I'm looking right now. I told it to. Oh, here it is. Bracket. Let's see. Yeah, the semifinals. So Texas and Ohio State. Notre Dame will play the winner of that. Yeah, I think I had Notre Dame and they're in the championship. Oh yeah, they're gonna play the winner of Ohio State and Texas. Interesting. I didn't even know college had a bracket like this. So they'll probably end up playing Ohio State.
Probably. And of course, that generates a little bit more income for the college system. They'll probably start going more interdivisional games too, like opposite, like in the NFL, where you play other teams from other conference. So we might. Welcome back, Charles.
Hit the wrong button as usual. Trying to do 8 things at once. Never works. Well, not never, but. What's up? We got Kamambo. That's, let's see. That's all that's in the chat.
Are you betting on the NFL playoffs that's coming up?
Yeah, not with money, but I got my picks right here. Saturday, tomorrow's the Chargers and Titans. Oh shit, I didn't even pick yet. I got the Ravens to demolish the Steelers. My roommate got the Steelers. It's going to be a good game. And then I got the Bills over the Broncos, which is going to be funny because isn't what's his name for the Broncos? Oh, no. I got the wrong team. That's the Steelers that have what's his name for the quarterback. The old Seahawks quarterback.
Wilson.
Yeah, Broncos got that dude, Nix or whatever.
hmm
I think that's his name, something Nix. Or something like that. And they got the Eagles over the Packers. And the Commanders over the Bucks. I want the Vikings over the Rams, but I gotta pick the Chargers and Titans. I don't know. I think the Chargers might take that. Like, I don't get excited like I used to in the playoff time. Like, all the information I've learned on how rigged this shit could be, it just, I don't know.
hmm It's kind of like finding out. You see that what the Wizard of Oz is behind the curtain. You know, you try people will try to pretend that they haven't seen what's behind the curtains, and then try to continue the way it is. And for a lot of people, it's kind of like, nah, it's rigged, organized, scripted, whatever. And I think also too, Charles, as we get older, you know, we do wean off certain things. We might move to something else, but you know, like every so often, people will stop watching sports, but then catch themselves up watching, say, like the Olympics or the World Cup. You know, so maybe not as avid that they used to, but they'll still, you know, follow a little bit. Can't speak for everybody.
What? What are you patching up, Kamambo? I thought you were talking about a pipe. I was like, you're gonna need some fucking Teflon tape on the threads. But that's for the only for threaded piping you use Teflon tape. Mostly for gas pipe and shit. And then for Teflon tape, I forgot. For copper piping and shit, you gotta use pipe dope or hold on, Sun Flux that goes on. Oh shit, what is it called? It's been so long. What's that stuff you put on the copper? You gotta sand it to make sure it's clean, and then I think it's Sun Flux. Anyway. Oh, ceiling board. I remember learning about all this stuff in HVAC and basic plumbing. Like, I remember him telling me, well, you can't use this. It was the solder. He's like, because this is the old solder. This has lead in it. And he's teaching me all this stuff, right? And I'm like, come on, man, let me solder some pipe, man. How am I ever gonna learn? And my old boss, rest in peace, his name was Drezik. This fucking dude was Polish. He was like 6. I don't even know, man. Dude was almost 7 feet, probably. He was probably 6, maybe 6, 7, maybe taller. But his hands were like fucking. Dude was tall as hell, and his hands would just crush your hands when he would shake them. But I hated working for him, and then I loved working for him. I hated working for him when he would penny pinch, but he was only trying to teach me value, and he'd always bring up, when I was your age, my father didn't pay me shit. And I'd be like, Rich, you're not my father, so pay up.
True. It's always like a subtle way, a clever way to plant in your head that don't come to me and think that you should have more money or get money. So I guess the shackles are on my feet. I guess I go away. Yeah, I think you got to teach people the value of money, so you have to pay them. Maybe make them understand why some people get paid more than others, and for different applications. But yeah, there's a lot of people they've been indoctrinated that way, so they would teach the next people. Back in my day, okay, back in your day, you probably also didn't have TV and all that other stuff. So, and the comforts. So.
Shit, he would let me. I had this van. Well, it wasn't my van. It was a van. I cleaned it up. He had it in the backyard, and I would use it to go on calls. And man, this was when I was on the run too. Was it? Yeah, it was before I went. Man, to this day, I still think I asked him too. I think it was him who told on me because he knows a lot of cops. But I remember doing a job, and it took me about, I don't know, I'll say 45 minutes. And the lady gave me the check, and I took it back to the shop when the job was done. It took me about 20 minutes, but to clean up and stuff and whatever. He made almost $300 in 45 minutes. And I think he gave me $20. And I was complaining. But he made a good point. It is his business. And it's not like I could have complained and been like, well, you gotta, I had no experience on that type of work, right? As I look back now and I was complaining, I'm thinking, I had no experience, right? I wasn't in school or certified or none of that stuff. But still, I did all the work. And I'm thinking, damn, man, if I could just get in the richest position and just make $280 an hour. But
So let me understand this, Charles, because I'm in the trade. And I've been an apprentice. I ran many guys. You did the work? Are you there, Charles?
yeah,
Okay, you did the work. Was he there to supervise at all?
no,
Okay, so you took the van and you drove there.
yeah.
Well, when you're a service guy, you would hope that the company structures somewhat correctly and you have an apprentice with a licensed guy. But if you're an apprentice, depending on the job and all that, a lot of times inspectors might have a tough time with that. If somebody's making $300, the person that's the tradesperson should get at least 100 of that. So that's called trade abuse, whether you knew it or not. So you had rightful reasons to be upset. Those are clever people, and that's how the system had to tighten up, because they would have like 4 or 5 guys. They weren't even apprentices yet. So they hadn't even gone to school or had the one-on-one supervision of a tradesperson. The customer at that point was at a disadvantage, because they've got somebody that's not qualified to do the work. Now, not to say that you're not qualified, I mean that you know how to do the work.
In case I fucked up,
Yeah.
there's no insurance.
Yeah.
It was it's not like I went to I forgot to say that he owned a lot of properties.
Mhm.
So it was one of his properties.
Oh, that's different then. Yeah, that's just different. If it's his property,
He owned many properties, this guy, man. He was telling me all this stuff and how some of them his father gave him when his father got old. It came with the business. But a lot of them he bought during, I remember in New Britain, there was a time when, I swear he told me he bought that 6 family for $1. It was all fucking abandoned and fucked up, and he bought it for $1 and fixed it all up. And I'm like, $1? It sounds good, but when he started to explain the money he had to put into it, that's why it was $1. But
Mhm.
I said, you know, well, how did you do? He goes, I made my money back and some still making money. So
Yeah, people usually cheese out on either material or the labor. The reason I say that, Charles, is because as a tradesperson, you have a code book, but there's two other code books. There's the insurance code book, and then there's the manufacturer code book, and building codes. So in this particular case, an inspector probably would have had a field day with them if they got caught.
no,
Yeah, you're doing a job.
Let me do that on my own if it was anything else but his own property, like the renter. And all I was doing was cleaning. The well, I don't know how things are now, but what is it called? Not the boiler, but the gas. You gotta. I had to clean it out with wire brushes and shit. I don't know if you're familiar with HVAC, but the old furnace, I guess, is called.
Mhm.
I had to turn it off. He's teaching me how to turn everything off and to check the line and
Which is great, which is good teaching skills.
wire brushes and shit. It was a bitch.
Again, I wouldn't know if that's something somebody would have to be qualified to do. I guess the question I would always tell people is like, would you want an apprentice surgeon, or would you want the surgeon there and the other person that's the apprentice just watching them?
Qualified.
Yeah,
because he was showing me stuff because I was going to go to school for HVAC and plumbing, but I never ended up. I had a change in mind when I went to prison.
Just on the trades part, that's all. Because again, it's one of those things where now we're dealing insurance. If the insurance found out that, okay, somebody did gas lines or did electrical lines, and the person, they'd start doing the back check and said, okay, so who did the work? And they said, well, I did. Well, you're the licensed electrician, but did you actually do the work, or did you supervise it? So that's how it usually happens. And that's why in the 80s and the 90s, there was a lot of abuse in the trades. There still is, so there's a reason why they have laws and rules, in this case, policies. So, and it's safety for the apprentice too. I've heard of certain apprentices, they've died because they worked with certain type of electricity that they shouldn't even have been working with.
Man, I remember when I was in this program, it was called Youth Build. And the only reason I went into it was because I remember to get in, we had to go on this camping trip. It was a week long. I don't even know why they did that, to see who was strong or not, but I went because of the carpentry. And then halfway through, I ended up getting my asbestos and lead abatement license. It was $500 to take the course, which they paid for. And I passed the test and got my license, but I was more interested in the carpentry. And we turned a 6-family into a 3-family. We gutted that fucking building with hell. But yeah, OSHA was up in there every other day checking in. They don't play, man. And if you weren't, if you didn't have Tyvek suits on or breathing equipment, because was it that? I don't remember if we taped anything off. I don't think so. But come to find out, the building had asbestos in it. But we already had gutted the fucking thing. And I thought to myself, damn, the city knew that. But yeah, I was more interested in the carpentry. I wanted to be a carpenter. I learned a lot. But I even learned how to read blueprints a little bit. But nothing came of that either.
Well, you learned a lot of
I blame me, because when I went to go to the where you pay your dues for carpentry, you have to it's like a waiting list to get in the, what is it called, the to get your carpentry license.
Trade school?
I forgot what it's called. It's not a lodge, but where you pay your dues and stuff.
Union? Were you union or something, Charles?
Huh?
Was it a union of some sort?
Yeah. To get in the union, they were like, "Oh, there's a long list." They psyched me out, and I was like, "Nah, for real?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, there's a long list, and you're gonna be way at the bottom." And I was like, "Man, it's not even worth it, right?" Well, one of the guys that was in my class did it, but he got in because I think it was his father, his uncle already had connections. But yeah. If I had patience, the same guy that I worked for, Drezik, I remember that's how I started working for him. I went in there because I knew some people that knew some people that knew some people that knew some people. No. And
People.
I showed him my license, and my friend was like, "Yeah, man, I know this guy. He could hook you up," and he sure did. But it was too late because I let it expire. It was 6 months after I let it expire, and as a matter of fact, I got my license right here. I never threw it out. Damn, I regret.
Why so, Charles? Why do you regret, Charles? You obviously, it sounds like you got some experience.
Yeah. But the year I let it go was the year fucking I end up finding work, man. The year I let it go. It always works like that. Never fails.
Well, I guess this is where somebody takes on somebody as, like, whether it's a parent or a friend, and they give you guidance, meaning that, hopefully they share with you a little bit of an insight that might occur in the future, where some things might even be something that's patterned in the past, where, you tell somebody a trade is a good job, to earn money. And if you can expand on it, like nowadays, I wouldn't have known when I was in the trade, how important PLCs would have been at the time, and then all the programming now. But the younger generation, I embrace the fact that they're way advanced, especially when they start using their phones, understanding how to do programming and all that. So the ones that have succeeded, those are the ones you look for, and those are the ones you follow. The rest of us, the older guys, we're still in the trade, and we could probably share some sort of wisdom whatsoever, maybe tell even stories how we got there. But there's a lot of people that go in and out of the trades, Charles. So I hope you're not hard on yourself. Like for every 10 people, maybe 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 stick it out. And some of them, they just get filtered out, like if you're working in an industrial industry, you might get filtered out. Some technology might replace you, or they can just limit 1 or 2 jobs out of the 5 or 6 that they have available at that position. It's kind of like the music industry. If you're trying to get into, it looks like those people that are well and they made it, but for how many people fall by the wayside or playing in, maybe bars, or still, playing around with, the tunes and all that. Oh, Charles is right. Welcome back, Charles.
Fucking Red Sox. They're talking about Jarren Duran and arbitration. They couldn't. He don't want 3.85 million. He wants 4. Like, dude, just sign the shit and shut the fuck up.
there's probably more to it, Charles. But yes, from the outside looking in and saying, well, that's a lot of money, but there's a, once you start portioning out who gets this, what does my agent get, what tax bracket will I be in if I sign in Boston opposed to somewhere else, and maybe they might even have some counter offers. We need you to do more PR for us. It's not a straightforward, it's a lot of money. From the average citizen, they're not going to understand. There's a lot more to it than just that. And that information is freely out there. Once you start wanting to find out, okay, what is the backdrop when an athlete, why do they hold out? Opposed to people just assuming he's greedy. Not really,
No, but like you said, after taxes kills it, number one. But I don't know.
Like I said, there
Red
might be
Sox are slacking, man. That's the main thing.
Well, from a fan's point of view, yes. But if you look at the rest of the teams, a lot of teams in baseball, they don't succeed. When it comes to for the ideal of having a team that has a potential of winning a championship. The Blue Jays had their run for a while there, and I think they did a lot what they did because the league was trying to push their franchise. And
well, that's the thing. The Sox allegedly, right, are trying to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but
they might.
And then they're trying to get Alex Bregman, and then they're trying to. I've been hearing this for 2 months about Alex Bregman. How hard is it to sit at a table and make decisions there? I mean, they play in games. That's why I don't care till I see it. So this could have done this. We there's no definite.
Well, that's a different version of gospeling. That's all. It's kind of like stocks. It's all rumors. And you're right, Charles. Once you start seeing it, then you know what the team have, and then you say, okay, this is what the team's going to play with, outside of injuries.
Yeah, they can just sign just one good hitter, and then next year they could. They're still talking about signing more pitching. It's like, dude, what the fuck? You can't win the games with just pitching. I mean, maybe you could, but
well, they probably pay people to, if we line up our team this way, how do we compete with certain teams that we know what they're lining their teams up with? A lot of people are going to be shooting. Well, not everybody, but most of the teams in the American League are going to be shooting. Okay, so what are the Yankees doing? Because if we're really looking to be a championship team, that's who we have to align with. Teams like the Blue Jays are thinking, okay, so what do we do to maybe be better than Tampa so we can finish fourth and maybe third? A lot of teams don't really go out, Charles, to think about winning a championship. They give the illusion that they want to win a championship, but no. They don't got the payroll. If the Jays give up Guerrero, it's just because they want to save money, and this way their team is somewhat profitable or not losing that much. And give him a chance to maybe win a championship, or to a team that has a chance.
Hold on. They already got rid of Tristan Casas to the Chicago White Sox. What is this guy talking about? I think it was him. Then they're talking about shifting Rafael to DH. That would be stupid. Why don't you just leave him at third, right? Sign, because they want to sign, what's his name, Nolan Arenado or whatever. Put him at fucking DH. I don't know. If you're gonna sign someone for DH, that would be like Vladdy, even though he's a first baseman. And you're not gonna get Vladdy.
They might. Never know.
Like, they made such a big deal out of Bueller there. That dude, I looked at his fucking stats from last year, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And he is a 2-time World Series champ, but hold on, I'm gonna show you why I was like, what the fuck?
Do Boston's even have like any half decent drafts to give up? Like, have you shared that information?
Oh, the Sox? Oh, they have tons of them.
Okay.
They had tons. And I'm just glad they didn't give up this one guy. I always forget his name, but last year I think it was Worcester, because it ain't Pawtucket Red Sox no more. I think it's Worcester. They the fucking dude hit 38 home runs or 33 for the minors. I mean, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And usually that's what, for some teams, breaks a trade deal, because they know each other's minor teams, and they say, no, I want him. And then they probably think, okay, he's a good batter or hitter, but he's a third baseman, and do we just re-sign our third baseman? Well, yeah, to a 1-year contract. Oh, okay, so there's a lot of chess going on, Charles, at that point, or puzzle.
Look who the Yankees have been signing. They're getting everyone, and they even want to get Bregman too. And I'm thinking, great. They get Bregman, just hand them the World Series trophy.
Well, the things with the Yankees, I don't know how the Dodgers are. The Yankees have their own TV coverage. They're like Notre Dame of football. And the league knows we allow them to have, or they can have their own TV coverage, but they're going to help other teams when they're at a loss profit. Yankees do fuel the organization, some of the bottom feeders in the league.
Bottom feeders.
Like, I don't know if you know that. If you're a player and you sign, and if you're in the league for long periods of time, if you sign a major contract to a player, but he gets injured early in the season, you can apply or get something where the league will disperse that money. So one team doesn't have to take the loss. Again, it's a business, Charles. And when you see the baseball, it's IBM with different offices. You can call one Boston, you can call one New York, you can call one Los Angeles, you can call one Toronto.
You remember Kyle Brady? He played for the Jets. I think he was the guy that got paralyzed.
Okay. No, but I don't remember his name.
I was just looking at his card. I think he's the guy. He got hit so hard he got paralyzed. Or it could be. Yeah, I think it is Kyle Brady. Pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah, pitchers' careers are pretty short too. You get paid an enormous amount of money for pitching, maybe at the most 30 games if you're a starter, but there's always that chance. Like, you're throwing so many balls in one game. They're just fortunate that now they have middle relievers and relievers. So now they've lessened the burden on starters.
I look at some of these cards I have, like Aaron Seeley. I got his 1993 Upper Deck.
Mm-hmm.
1993 Score rookie. As a matter of fact, I have a Score set that's factory sealed. I bought it off the internet. Where is it?
Hey, Charles, we could tap on just a little bit before you share that. What do you think when you were talking about silent weapons? What do you think that affects, besides just the body? Do you think that affects what people call auras? Maybe.
Hell yeah! It affects a lot of stuff besides my bad, that fucked me up. I'm looking at this guy's name's Ralph Hook, and the pitcher for the Red Sox last name's Hook. But anyway, yeah, I think silent weapons is more. To be honest, I thought Silent Weapons was a book on, because one of my favorite albums is called Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and this is how I found the book. I was looking up one day this Killer Army album. It's a Wu-Tang group. And I was like, let me download this album. I haven't heard it in a while. So I type in Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, and this book comes up. And I go, no way. Is this where they got this whole idea from to name the album that? So I download it. I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And I never really got to reading it. And so I seen it again. So I downloaded it, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, okay. It makes sense now of why they called it that. But it caught me blindsided. I wasn't expecting to be them talking about the money and stuff. But I'm glad, because it's helping me to understand how crooked the system is even more now. Because it's going into detail. And
But is it crooked, or do you think they're just tapping into something that's always been there?
both. They probably had a system of barter already, but you know, he thought of a way to turn the system of barter to benefit him, and you know, it was like a scam. He's like, how can I benefit myself off of, you know, I mean, it's a scam, but the people willingly accepted it. So I mean, you know, he was probably thinking, how could I complete this scam with the people doing it willingly?
So weaponizing silence at that point, hence the word silent weapon. You know, because I know when people, you know, openly talked about, you know, Tesla figured out certain things, there's a good chance there is, you know, energy, we'll call it, you know, certain energy that is in a certain silent pitch that fuels like the trees, the grass, the clouds, the sun, the moon. You know, if you can tap into it, like think about how Wi-Fi works. It's a certain pitch that maybe, you know, that, you know, as science become more adept and they can gauge it, then eventually they'll say, okay, we can pick up all these sounds, and then we can actually manipulate it. And that's why I was saying maybe it was only
going to be. I thought it was going to be like frequency weaponry or laser direct energy weapon. I think it might have to do with both, actually. I think that's what this other book. I don't know. I could have sworn Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. That's what it was about, like direct energy weapons and stuff like that. But maybe there's two versions. I gotta look.
Yeah. Well, there's open. I don't know if it's war, but it's open sound. You know, when you play music, we're just picking it up and think about how it makes you feel and think. And for certain pitches, it could probably make you angry. So it could tap into or manipulate the emotions.
Walker Bueller. I said his name wrong. Yeah, Walker Bueller. That's the guy. Last year, regular season, he was 1-6 with 64 strikeouts. And let's see. What the fuck? Oh, here we go. 1-6. Yep. Now, where's the playoffs? What? Hold on. Oh no. Okay. Either way, he was 1-6 in the playoffs. It was some ridiculous number, but because I was thinking, how the fuck did he get MVP of the World Series, man? Or something like that. I think it was him. No. I don't know. But either way, they made such a big deal out of signing Walker Bueller. He's not even all that. But I'm going to finish reading Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars tomorrow. And I think it's something people should definitely look into and read it themselves. But that's the problem. Most people, I don't think, care to want to know. They rather duck their head under the sand.
Well, the ones that choose to be either ignorant or indifferent or even unaware of that information, but the ones that are aware of it, then hopefully they can understand their type of way of taking information. Do they read it or do they hear it? You know, that's why when somebody reads information and somebody gets to hear it, that information can be passed on a little bit more. Think about sound, right? You know, that's what sound's all about. You know, it's just the ones that we don't hear, you know, our pitches, we can only hear so much pitches. And I'd be curious to know if they've been able to manipulate it so that they're not affecting, like, say, dogs, because dogs can hear certain pitches that we humans can't pick up. Same with the plant kingdom. So there might be a lot of orchestrating going on about, opposed to just thinking it's hideous or it's cruel. You know, there could be a lot of side effects, and some people could be affected more than others. It's like the economy, you know, the economic economy that we have. You're going to have a lot of a side effect. You're going to have people that are going to be poor, and you're going to have people that are going to be really rich from it.
As everything.
Yeah, that's just, you know, nature's the same way. So I've always valued the concept that nature probably was manipulated. So I couldn't see why humans could not do the same thing once they become aware. Can we manipulate it? Okay, will it affect the human race? Well, we'll have to weigh it out. How much and what environment? I'm pretty sure that sound that they're talking about, maybe different hemispheres play different roles, different seasons, depending on the location of the sun and the moon. You know, I would hope that whoever's doing all of this, I'm just putting all these different ideals out there, that they've paid people enormous amount of time and money and energy, or actually energy, or they've given up their energy to at least try to lock all that in as best as they can. But from the average person, it might look like, you know, it's disadvantage to me, so therefore it must be a scam, cruel, wrong, which it could be.
What a picture.
It is nice. Oh, very true. But what holds that thing up? There's the question. What holds that thing up? You know, people that have take it for granted. Well, there's the moon. I said, but what holds it up? Basically, we start. Mm-hmm.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say is, you know, if it's material, my question is, okay, so what have we missed to understand what holds that material thing up there? If it's something different, then we have to say, okay, so maybe that explains why we as a species can't duplicate that.
I don't think, in my opinion, through observation, that the sun or the moon is solid.
Mm-hmm.
What they are, I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're solid at all.
Most even when people get told the sun is heat. Okay, so let's play with this ideal. It's heat. I'm sitting on a beach, and let's say, absent of certain clouds, I'm getting some sort of suntan. But then yesterday I jumped out of a plane for parachuting. Why was it colder up there than down here? Now we got to start playing with the idea of magnetic. You know, how does magnetic work? Am I the middle conduit? And then in that friction, that's how it generates heat. This is where people understand about it. What's that?
I've spent hours contemplating on why it gets colder when you rise up near the sun and it's warmer down here.
Well,
I thought of, is it the inner sun? Is it because the ground holds heat? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I used to think it was a crock of shit. The higher you would rise, the colder. But I mean, look at the mountains. And I would think, because even near the equator, where it's fucking 110 degrees, right? You look up at the top of the mountain and there's fucking snow. And this is like, it could be in Puerto Rico, Jamaica, wherever. These mountains are so high that it's snow. So I don't know. But those are very good questions.
Mm-hmm. You know, again, people will talk about the different hemispheres. I mean, the different atmospheres we have. Me as an electrician, don't wish this upon anybody, but I've got the jolt from a 347, and it generated literally heat in my body. It wasn't a shock. So we could be a conduit for all of that. But it makes me at least speculate, okay, so everything I've been told should be reevaluated, you know, or at least me evaluating how I perceived it or how I thought about it, you know. Well, that's just the way it is, Dom. I'm like, okay, so you're telling me down here it's hot because it's hot up there, but then I still got to understand from my mind to wrap around, but it was cold when I was up there. You know, you would think it'd be the opposite. It would be colder down underneath us and hotter up there, but people said it's usually hotter down underneath us. So maybe we've reversed things. Not to say I'm ever going to have an answer, Charles. I know some people set out thinking they're going to have an answer, and if they don't, they're going to fill in the blank and say that's the answer. I said, no, you just got more possibilities. But if they think it's an answer, if that works for them, but I thought, but that's the problem we have already, isn't it? Our past generation saying gravity, which they keep saying is a theory, but people now decide to say, well, that's factual. I said, yeah, they wrote it down as a theory.
Well, I think gravity is just a fancy word to describe buoyancy and density. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. We got to give a word to it. But when they say theory, they're not saying the word is a theory. They're saying what we're depictuating, and we're using the word as a theory. Theory, you know, feel, and then read, you know, different reason. You know, we're going to use our capacity of our brains to try to comprehend something that's bigger than us. Okay, that'll be challenging. How about we all work together and we all have individual parts? Maybe as parts we could probably figure it out. So,
God damn it.
but I get it. We can entertain different ideals: the egg effect, the globe, the flat. You know, what's it called? The crater. Again, those are just more possibilities, and you know, no problem.
Yeah, all that stuff is getting old.
It is, and then there's people I've talked to. They've learned about that stuff 30 years ago. They talked to me about esoteric stuff. I said, yeah, Tom, I've actually been to Crowley's place. I'm like, oh, really? So I'm just becoming aware of this in the last 10 or 15 years. And so other people, they've known about this for 30 or 40 years. What did you get from 30, 40 years ago? There's only so much you can know, and then you just move on from it. You're aware of it. You're at peace with it in some way, and that's just the way it is. But some people figure just because now it's come to their attention, you know, I bought a white car, so therefore now look at all the white cars out there. No, there's been many white cars out there the whole time. So that's
This
why.
right here, I was going to say the map of the drones. That's where they were coming from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All from the ocean. All at the same time, too.
Yeah, they know how to orchestrate drones. No different they know how to orchestrate planes or helicopters.
Definitely a military operation. And then I question, what the fuck were they doing? Because you know the government, they don't tell the people shit. You know, their excuses.
They tell them
people are panicky and this and that, and it's like, so what do you? That just goes to show if something serious was happening, they wouldn't tell us. They would just let us die and be like, "Oh yeah, we forgot to tell you."
I guess, Charles, the government tells you something, and then somebody from a different part slanted will tell you something else. So then people say, "Okay, well, why didn't they tell this? Because now we know this." How do you not know both of them are still distractions? How does it serve majority of people if they found out there's a whole bunch of drones forming a triangle? How would it wouldn't serve them? But now people become aware of it. They have that, you know, looping, you know, I told you so, or aha, that's it. I've always had a suspicion. I'm like, okay, so I'm giving you, or somebody's giving you a particular thing.
I got to jump off in like 15 minutes. I forgot to say that 10 minutes ago.
No problem. I got to jump off in 5 minutes anyway, Charles. So if that helps. So.
Did you ever see this?
Go ahead, Charles.
I just want to ask you real quick.
Oh, the planes?
this is new to me that allegedly, I just wanted to say, on this day, on the day that happened, this van was caught. Allegedly. This is in the video that JG, excuse me, sent me to watch. And this was in there, and these guys are pulled over and harassed and all types of shit. And I mean, where did they get this shit from? This happened on the day. Like, who the fuck drew this up and knew it was gonna happen and drove around with it? I don't.
Once again, Charles, we're living in a technology where you can cut and paste anything. Unless you know the people that are driving that van and you talk to them and say, were you there?
I know you can do that, but my question is how that morning this van was driving around, the morning that happened.
Once again, Charles, how do you know that van was even there in that morning? It's hearsay at that point. And like I said, Charles, unless you're talking to the guys in the van and say, guys, September 11th, were you at that point? Is that your picture? Now, the next question after that is, what would make me think that they're trustworthy with that information? It's fueling stories. That's all it is. It's more stories because it wants to validate. That's it, finally. 9/11. I got you. They've been scamming us the whole time. I said, at this point, you could even turn around and do the opposite way. I'm trying to prove that 9/11 happened. That goes back to the moon landing. To put in whether we did or didn't go to the moon. Not just we did go to the moon and somebody else said we didn't go to the moon. Put them both in the same head of yours and say, okay, Dom, let's say they did go to the moon. How does that serve you? Fuck, it doesn't serve me. Let's say they didn't go to the moon. It doesn't serve me. So why are these people chasing all this information? Because they want to fucking prove that in a moment in time, I got you. There's a fucking billions of moments going on at any given moment. Now, serve. Think about serve and server. Think about a computer. What does it do? It's a server. It's just taking all kinds of information in. How would that change? It'd be different if I said, listen, Mom, Dad, my friends, here's a picture. They'd be all looking to me, Dom, okay, so you show me a picture. Are you going to give me millions of different views now and explain why that's important to me? Well, I just want to prove whether or not 9/11 was a scam. Well, Dom, I wasn't in New York, so I wouldn't really know. And I would look at the TV, and I know most things in the TV are usually orchestrated to a certain point, whether the people that are actually doing it are aware of it or not.
Life is a scam.
It could be, or maybe there's people out there, they're running the show, they're making it benefits them, and the masses, lazy as most of us are bitching and complaining and not realizing, do you want to print money? Do you want to run the military? Do you want to run the United Nations? Probably not. Most people wouldn't. Most people just want the goods from it, which is fine. Not to denounce the fact that something did happen in New York on 9/11. But how it led up to it, at that point, it's a fairy tale story. No different. Here's the prince and the princess. Here's your slipper. What's the day after? And most times, not the day after, is stories. People could be talking about Vietnam if they wanted to. They could be talking about Hitler. None of that I'm aware of, unless there's some fucking immortal being here that lived during the Hitler time. And most of them, where did you live? Well, I'm a 98-year-old woman, and I lived in the east wing of Germany where there was no war whatsoever. Oh, okay. But I could turn around and say I was in a war. Fuck, anybody could say that.
I'm at war every day. Shit.
Sure we are. And a lot of people do live in a war-infested environment. I'm saddened for them. You know, some people live in an economic war. Fuck, you just have to work on Dow Jones, being a stockbroker or whatever. That's a war going on there. Fucking every moment thinking about, I got to buy, I got to sell, I got to buy, I got to sell. Now people might say, yeah, but they're earning money. I said, but you're missing it. They still got to be in it. No different than that. Yeah. You know, but this is what we do because people think that for some reason it's a scam going on, which usually more times than not, that's a given when it comes to humans. That's a given. But how does it serve you to know whether it's a scam or not? And who would you tell that information to? Hey, Grandma, I'm going to tell you something.
It would serve me to be aware of that shit.
That's it. And that's a good point. Awareness. But to do anything about it, that's another story all by itself. Especially when you find out there's been people that have been working together, whether ignorant or aware, They've been financially getting gains from it. Their family gets supported from it, and they've been doing this for generations. You think it's going to end overnight? Usually when it ends overnight, it's because they've made the shift. And we did, and the master are going to think, see, we finally proved them, and they're going to change the system. No, they've been doing that for years, if not decades. So when they bring in the digital currency, we're going to see the back end of it. They're not understand that's been going on for decades. Bringing in credit cards, PayPal and all that kind of stuff. And then they use, young people. Look at Elon Musk. Yeah, Elon Musk is a paid COO, probably went to the best schools to be a good actor. Anybody can prove whether or not he has that financial wealth? They could say he's worth $50 billion. He couldn't. And then if he did,
dusty ass t-shirts he wears, I doubt it.
Look at this plane.
Sweet.
This is from World War II. It reminds me of the other bomber that the U.S. has. Kind of like, it looks pretty small, this plane. But anyway, I was trying to find some German technology, but I'll share it tomorrow if I go live in the morning. Seeing that most people have taken off, which is perfect timing. The people from that van got it from The Simpsons. Just watch The Simpsons. That's the closest you can get to knowing the future. What's up, D. Allen Warren? But yeah, I'm gonna jump off of here. And thank you, Dom, for coming up.
Thanks, Charles. And I hope I kept you company.
And peace to everyone in the chat. Jay Height and D. Allen Warren, Kamambo. I appreciate everyone coming by. I'll finish the other half. I'll finish, I think it's like 17 pages left. I'll finish that tomorrow. And thank you again, Dom, for coming up. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. And I'm out.